Hi, it's time for our Lego Bible story. I have my Legos ready. I hope you have yours out. I have Lego-sized Jesus to be with us today. And let's begin. Our story today comes from the Gospel of Matthew. The Gospels are the 4 books that tell of what Jesus said and did when he was here walking around on earth. And this story comes towards the end of Matthew's Gospel, when it's getting closer to the time when Jesus is going to die. And he's teaching his disciples, and he's telling them lots of things. And he tells them in stories and parables. In this one, he said, it's as if a man was going on a journey, and he summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. And then he went away. The one who received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with them and made 5 more in the same way. The one who had 2 talents did the same and came back with 2 more. But the one who had received 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. A long time later, the master came back and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had the 5 talents came forward and said, look, you gave me 5, I made 5 more. And his master said, well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Likewise, the second one came forward saying, Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made you 2 more. And his master said, well done, good and faithful servant, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And then the one who had 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you can have what is yours. But his master replied, you wicked and lazy slave, you knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow, and I gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I at least would have had the interest. So taking the talent from him, and gave it to the one with the 10 talents, for to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. If you read Bible stories a lot, you'll know that in Matthew's Gospel, there's a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth. Not always sure what that means, but it is fun to say. I wonder what you will build with your Lego as we wonder about this story. So here I have Jesus, and I'm going to have my 3 slaves. Sometimes that word can mean servant, but sometimes it means slave. And to this one, the master gave 5 talents. 3, 4, 5. Do you know what a talent is? It sounds like we think of a talent maybe as like you have a musical talent or an artistic talent. But a talent is a huge amount of money. It's like maybe what you'd earn in a year or maybe even more than that. And so when the master gave the talents, it wasn't like giving a little bit of money. It was like giving a whole lot. So 5 times what you might make in a year. Or 4 times, or 2 times, or 1 time. So here we have the 5, the 2, and the 1. And sometimes in these stories or these parables, we try to think about who's who and what does this mean? What is Jesus talking about? And sometimes the one who is afraid, it seems like he's kind of getting a bum rap, right? This is how he describes the master. He says, well, you reap where you didn't sow and you gather what you didn't scatter. And he was afraid. But I wonder if he had the right idea of who the master was. That was the first one who went right out and made 5 more. I wonder if maybe this one just had the wrong idea. And because he was afraid of the master, his fear stopped him from doing things. Do your fear ever stop you from doing things? I'm afraid of heights sometimes, so I won't climb very far or things like that. And actually, as I've gotten older, my knees tell me that's a good idea. And so I've never done ski jumping, for example. But I wonder if there's anything that you're afraid of and that you didn't do because you were afraid. And maybe you saw other people doing it and enjoying it. I wonder if that's what it was like for this one. This one went out with all of that money and made 5 more. And did you hear what the master said? Like, well done. Enter into the joy of the master. And for the one with the 2 who made 2 more, it was also well done. Enter into the joy of the master. I wonder if this one just got it all wrong. I wonder, because when Jesus tells the story, he tells the story and says the same words back that the last slave said. So the last slave describes the master and the master repeats it. But I wonder if it really was true. I wonder who the master really is. If the master is God, what do we know about God? We know that God loves us and God's grace is amazing and God's forgiveness is over and over again. That doesn't sound like who this person thought the master was. But it kind of sounds like who these guys did. So if the master is overwhelming in generosity and not afraid, do you think that maybe they followed the master? And then maybe is the master God? I wonder what it's like to be given so much and to be able to go out and share that or build on it. I wonder if that's what Jesus was saying. And it didn't seem to matter how much the person made, did it? Because the response from the master to the slaves was the same for the one with the 5 and the one with the 2. So it doesn't seem like it's about how much, but about what they did. Over and over again in the Bible, we hear, "Fear not, I am with you." It doesn't sound like this guy remembered that. I wonder where you would be in this story. I wonder if you would be the master who would trust other people with your stuff. I wonder if you would be the one who'd already shown that you knew how to do things or understood stuff. And you were trusted with 5. And you went out with all of the abundance and lack of fear that you had learned. I wonder if you were not quite the 5 and not quite so scared, and the one with the 2, and went out without fear and gathered more of whatever it was. I wonder if you're ever the one who's too afraid to do anything and so just hides. I wonder if sometimes we're all different ones of these. I wonder what Jesus really meant. I wonder what you will build with your Lego and what this story really means for you.